let us look now at the weekly rep, because I've got a great fondness for that. Let's have a look at the week. Well, the Actors' Week started on a Tuesday. They probably have a cast list for the following week's play would go up on the board on either Friday or Saturday, and the manager or the director would probably, I've not told you about the, I'll tell you in a minute, you probably have the scripts for the following week's play at the weekend so that you could have a look at it. So when you came on Tuesday, you were prepared. You didn't know your lines because, oh no, you couldn't learn your lines because actors in the 50s always said, darling, I can't remember. No, it was the right hand they put to their darling, I can't learn my lines till I know my moves. And so it's this very important thing that they had to have their moves before they learnt the lines, because the moves sort of energised them and helped to retain the memory. Okay, just one other little thing was the casts of the weekly rep were less. That's how the entrepreneurs kept the money down. Usually about 7, leading lady, leading man, juvenile boy, juvenile girl, and sometimes the juniors would have to play older parts, and a character man, character woman, usually older actors that would play sort of oddities and eccentrics. Occasionally, if you needed another person or another 2 persons, the director might play a part and the stage manager would play a part. If they were desperate to put bums on seats, they might employ doing a special week. They might employ an actor or an actress just for that one particular show where the cast was that much bigger. Right, so Tuesday's the first day of the week, sit down, you block Act 1. Now I'm telling you what, in a way, I would do, or because directors did have different methods, so don't take everything I say as gospel. But you block Act 1. For the uninitiated, blocking means moving, writing. You'd have a pencil in your ear, and you take the pencil out, making sure that you had a rubber in your pocket, because the director was always changing the moves. So you had a pencil, you'd have your virgin script, and you would write down the moves. And that was it. Have tea, and then you would run Act 1 with the moves. Of course, you wouldn't have learned it, so the script was in your hand, and your learning time was in the afternoon, before the evening performance of the play you'd done last week. So that was your learning time. Then you did the play, not the play you're rehearsing, obviously, but you did the play, and then you go back to your lodgings. If you were new in rep, very often you'd find a lady doing theatrical lodgings. They were incredible. They were just brilliant. But the lady would probably say, "Oh, I'll have a tea for you, your high tea at 6 o'clock." To which the actor would go, "Oh no, God, I can't eat before the performance. I must have it after." And the theatrical landlady thinking, "Oh my God." But they were a breed apart, and they were prepared to do meals late on. They were incredible. So they would do a meal for you after the show. Wednesday, you would block Act 2, write down all the moves, and then run Act 2, so it would help to retain it in the mind. Learn Act 2 in the afternoon, hoping you had learned Act 1 already. You might have been up, as a lot of weekly rep actors were indeed, up till 2 o'clock in the morning. And that wasn't unknown. If you were playing leads, you could well be working till 2 o'clock in the morning, studying. And just a little tip for anybody that might be going into rep later this week, it's best to look at your script last thing at night and mull it over in the dark while you're in bed, and then have a look at it as soon as you get up first thing in the morning. So that's Act 2. Act Thursday, you would block Act 3, run Act 3, and then, to make sure that you weren't losing it, probably you would do a run of Act 1, again, because it was a couple of days since you did Act 1. Friday, you would do a run through with, now, important thing is, actors don't just have to think about lines, they have to think about timing, their moves, and also any bits of business. You might have to offer somebody a drink, or you might have to take their coat and put it on a thing, or there might be something off stage that you have to go and collect. So all this has to be done, and during the week you've mimed it. It isn't until Saturday, so you will do a run through, and after each act you will have notes. So that pencil comes out again, and usually by Friday you have to take the rubber out because the director's changed quite a few things. Saturday you do another run through. This time stage management should be providing the props, those props that you have to pick up on stage and the props that you have to bring on stage that are set for you off stage. You run through, no scripts. This is Friday, and so that's that. And then another run through on Saturday morning. No scripts. Again, with the actual props, and probably by this time you're introducing a little bit of the technical things such as lighting and sound. So there you are, that's Saturday, last performance of the play. You did this like this the week before. Sunday, revising your lines, making sure your lines are right. Monday, technical rehearsal, mainly for the stage management rather than actors in the morning, but for actors in the afternoon. And with the wardrobe that you're going to use in the actual production, everything should be absolutely right, as right as possible. After each act, notes, and there can be technical problems which can make a dress rehearsal quite a long process. Hopefully it'll all go smoothly and you'll be able to take your costume off, but not your makeup, so you can't really leave the theatre. But if the costume is heavy, you can take it off and have a nice little rest. But I have known, mainly in Buxton actually, the dress rehearsal having problems, particularly on the technical side, and a lot of notes, that has slowed it down. And 7 o'clock, go up on Overture on Beginners Please. We go up at 7:30, curtain come down, the director's to sit in front of the curtain and still be rehearsing when the audience are coming into the theatre. Right, so that's a little bit about the week.